Hello and welcome to GPTV on Tuesday the 13th of July. My name's Philip Kingston.
And I'm Gary Peer.
Gary, we're midwinter now, I think. The 13th of July means we're halfway through winter. We're in the home straight now. Can't wait for the warmer weather to come on.
You're another month older today, the anniversary of your birthday.
Yes, absolutely.
So for those that haven't got your gifts, is it acceptable still a month later?
Totally. No, I have a period of 12 months from my birthday where it's still acceptable to give me birthday presents. But when the next one comes around, if you haven't given me, it's doubled up. Double or nothing.
That's it. And does it keep doubling at a very rapid rate?
Doubling.
Fair enough. Very harsh.
Compound interest, Gary. The law of compound interest. The viewers, you'd be all know this because anybody that watches GPTV is highly astute.
Of course.
But the law of compounding interest. You know, you buy a property today and you reinvest all your rental proceeds into more property. By the time you're in a nursing home, you'll own a lot of property, and that's good. It's good to be the person in the nursing home that owns the most property.
When you're having those pureed vegetables, Philip, and you're in that chair being fed, you want to have a big portfolio, don't you? It wouldn't be the same without it, would it?
You don't want to be sitting around not being able to compare portfolios in the nursing home.
Of course not. That would be a terrible late stage of your life, end of your life. Phil, we've had some viewer feedback active. You know, that discussion last week about is there more value in the name of a street? And Kathy writes in, Phil, from the fair shores of Torquay. We know Kathy, a lovely lady, wrote in for the fair shores of Torquay because she actually lives in a Muse street at the moment.
Well, now, come on, this has got to be, with greatest respect to viewer feedback and greatest respect to Kathy.
People write in.
I'm not having a crack at Kathy now. I'm having a crack at local Australian councils. I mean, all the viewers.
Are you taking us off track?
No. All the viewers know that I'm a Republican, and the sooner Australia becomes a republic, the better.
God save the Queen.
But I mean, imagine in Torquay there's a Muse.
Of course there is. Yeah.
I mean, of all places,
it has to be a
Muse. This is Australia. This is the greatest country on the earth. This is a country that should be defined by its own identity. And having a Muse in Torquay, that'd be the last place on the planet there should ever be a Muse.
Well, why should a Muse be different to a road
because
or
a
close
Muse is a
or
real
a
English.
No,
Muse is a real English term.
What a road? Where do you think roads came? Oh, I'd probably spell. Well, what are you going to say now about the Romans? They built roads.
Well, I'll take a Roman road over an English Muse in Torquay of all places.
The Muse in Torquay, he's not amused about the Muse. But the Muse in Torquay, she lives there. But that's not the point anyway. You're taking me off track. You do that. You misguide me and you steer me away. You've been doing it all your life. Grandview Road, Phil, in Torquay is a road with a grand view. Well, however, there are properties being built now, so it's being built out. So it's no longer going to be Grandview Road. Could you change it from Grandview Road to built
out Muse?
No, could you? It's the Muse and the road different conversations. Just leave your phone. Different conversations. What Kathy is saying that there's a Grandview Road and you can see the sea. But there's knocking down places and putting up new ones, so the current Grandview may be average view.
Look, viewers, don't let development get in the way of a view. Is all I can say. The more development we get, the better off real estate agents are.
I mean, if you're looking at the back of apartments, it's like looking at the ocean, isn't it? For real estate agents, even better, perhaps. Anyway, that's what's going on, Phil. Grandview, maybe not so Grandview, or Seaview. If you had a Seaview and it was built out, you'd be. Could you change the name of the street? Seaviewless Road, yeah, there you go. Also had an email from a client, Phil, from Eva. I thought she was in the UK, but Eva's moved to San Diego, Phil.
Well,
San Diego viewers, we're big in San Diego.
I've never been to San Diego viewers, but apparently it's got a very good aquarium.
It has.
There's
a story there. You know, you think this was rehearsed there, and it's not. And this is not planned at all. But it's funny because we went to the San Diego SeaWorld, Phil.
Yes.
And of course, there's all these seats available. We get there late to the show because Piers are a bit late, right?
You got the water seat, did you?
Well, we didn't know. There's all these seats that are free right at the front. So we thought, how good is this?
How dumb are Americans?
They leave the seats, or they must have known the Piers are arriving. What a special day this is. So we rocked on, walked along, Phil, sat in these seats right at the front. Little did we know that part of the show was the orca jumps out and completely soaked us all to the bone. So,
including your mother at the time,
careful.
I think.
No, mother wasn't with us on that trip. No, she was too smart to come to San Diego and get washed over by the.
So San Diego, I also believe doesn't the Pacific Fleet, the US naval, don't they have a huge naval fleet base at San Diego? Anyway, who
I
cares
don't know
about San
about the
Diego?
day. I don't know. Phil,
really,
they've got Disney, they've got the Lego Land there, and they've got the zoo, and they've got the SeaWorld. Great place to go. Anyway, Eva's loving it there, and she was loving our talk about, I think she likes to talk about the old days, Carlton, and she talked about getting the strap at school, which is interesting because that was part of the course we were growing up. And, she got strapped on the legs, and she got, when you got strapped, you're always with the last in line, because by the time the principal or the teacher got to you, the first one would be bang, the second one would be bang, and by the time it got to you at the end, although you don't try to move your hand out of the way, Phil, because that gave you a double
the last
strap.
time I was caned at school.
We all got caned and strapped.
I was caned 6 times.
Imagine the millenniums watching this. She'd be horrified.
6 times.
Can we sue? Is it too late?
I was caned 6 times at Cootamundra High School.
What do you mean, 6 separate times or 6 times at once?
Because every now and then I was the bellboy at one stage, right?
Okay.
And what you had to do is to denote the end of a class and the start of a new one, they would have the horn that came out.
Okay. Oh, you'd love a horn.
I did. So
did they give the horn to the wrong guy?
Job this week, Gary, was one particular week was to ring the horn for the end of class, right?
Auctioneer and horn guy.
Horn. Yeah. So I thought, well, everybody just rings it or blows it once, right? So I thought,
awkward this conversation.
You know what? I'm going to press it 3 times.
Right, okay.
So I went, well, little did I know that 3 horns was the code for a bomb threat at Cootamundra High School. So all of a sudden, I wander back into the quadrangle. The entire school is lining up in the quadrangle.
Did you know you'd done something wrong at this stage?
And I'm looking at this going, I wonder what that's all about. Anyway, 600 people and all of the teachers lined up in the quadrangle. I'm thinking, something has gone wrong here. Anyway.
Didn't know it was related to the horn yet.
Caned 6 times.
Is that right? Well, that wasn't the only time you were caned.
No,
and in fact, my father was quite a modern man because he actually went to school and said, look, you're not hitting my son, which wasn't done at that time. The teachers were, they had control over you.
What wuss was he?
I know. What was he? No, he just wanted to have all the fun doing it at home. No, that's not true. He never laid a hand on me, my father, God bless him. But Phil, we talked about getting the strap and getting the cane, and they were the days, and that doesn't seem so long ago.
Thank you, Eva.
Different world.
Thank you, Eva from San Diego, for sending us right off line and right off topic with that. Let's get back onto real estate, Gary.
Slap with a ruler,
I had a
Phil.
weekend off, but you were out there, out and about. Tell me, how'd you go without me, my driving charisma and leadership, bringing the organisation, pulling the organisation? How'd you go?
Do you know what? We didn't miss a beat, Phil, that's for sure. What was our clearance rate? You'll have to there
you talk to camera, Gary. I'll have a quick look and tell you that our clearance rate was, are you ready for it? Our clearance rate
joke out there
was...
Joke of the week?
Here we are. 11 out of 13 viewers for an 85% clearance rate.
Industry 77, I think it was.
Industry average of 77. So even without me, Gary, the organisation was able to do a pretty good job. Having said that, only 13 auctions. Normally when I get an 85 clearance rate, it's out of, 35 auctions or something. Anyway,
you're trying to...
you did what you had.
You're trying to create some validity.
You had to do what you had to do, Gary. I suppose you did 2 auctions on the weekend.
You're trying to create a case of us needing you, actually. Is that what you're saying? Because we did well without you. You're trying to say, oh, well, if I'd been there,
well,
you
didn't do much. Right, you had a good success rate from not very much.
Well, you know what? It was a quiet July weekend, Phil, as they are often in July. But boy, we've had a good listing week in July. A lot of stuff coming in. There's quite a few sellers coming up, Phil. So if you're looking to buy, there's a bit of stuff.
Can you put the G on the end of
your
coming
up good? Coming up good.
Coming. You drop your G's a lot.
Oh, right. Yeah, I like to drop my G's, Phil. And it's always good to have you there to pick them up. But we did have a quietish weekend, but we did have some good results, Phil. And we can have a talk about some of those results if you'd like to.
Let's do so.
Look, I did an auction on Sunday in Pine Street, Phil. I think I did a superb job of passing that in. We passed it in at 708. Well, we got it later off 785. 825 will buy that, and I reckon it's value.
Like good buying.
I reckon it's value. In fact, I was talking to Daniel's son last night about it, and I said, I reckon that's all right. at 8.25. He said, Dad, that's a buy. So 8.25 in Pine Street. Great unit. Phil, we had a couple of competitive auctions in Mitford Street. We did well in Elwood this weekend. We love Elwood. We did well.
Check out Poets Corner, Gary. That has got to be one of Melbourne's most beautiful buildings.
It's an iconic building, Phil. It's like the Flatiron in New York, isn't it?
Well, it's probably reminiscent of the Flatiron. In fact, it's built on an angled intersection, and you've got that lovely curve to that building. And anybody that lives in Elwood or St Kilda would know that building. Anyway, we set somewhat of a new record price in that building, I think.
Phil, we sold 7 at 38 Mitford Street, 5 bidders for 8.55, and 3 at 23 Mitford Street, Elwood, or actually St Kilda in that part of Mitford Street, Phil, for 4.96. Both of them very competitively sought after, and also sold in Armidale on the weekend, Phil, in Edgerton Road, $660,000. So we did okay, Phil, on the weekend, but Pine Street unsold, a good opportunity there. And by the way, Glen Huntly Road, Elswick, Phil, thumped and sold for $630, well above its expectation, Phil. Again, very competitive. So there's lots of buyers out there.
Out in his camel jacket I saw on Facebook, Gary.
He loves a camel jacket.
A camel jacket.
You love a camel jacket too, don't you?
I'm undecided about camel on a man.
Really? What about man on a camel? Would you like that? 3 at 481 Kooyong Road, Phil, Elswick did not sell, but now price reduced, $329,000, a snap purchase. We haven't had a snap. We've had some screaming buys. We haven't had snap purchases, but I like that concept. Should we talk about what's happening this weekend, Phil? I wanted to also talk a bit about embarrassing auctioneer moments, Phil, because I think that, we haven't really talked about, people tune in here for the humour, but we haven't really talked about the embarrassing auctioneer moments. And
we haven't really had that many.
Well, there's been a few, like there was an auctioneer that did a bit of a slapstick job a few months ago. It wasn't that funny, actually. Fell over and hurt himself at an auction.
Really?
Slipped over, one of our local auctioneers.
Wasn't one of us?
No, it wasn't one of us, but, in the Caulfield area.
Really?
I don't know if it was a banana there, but whoopee, went over, fell over, so that was probably comical, except for the auctioneer, not so funny. Then there was the auctioneer that was either drunk or a little bit affected by other substances, Phil, in the southeast. We won't say where, but if you keep going a few suburbs out from Caulfield South, and that was a recorded auction, and it was like something out of Woodstock. I think that auctioneer was Woodstock. And then, of course, there was the auction that you did in Glen Iris, Phil, if I remember rightly, where you were beautifully attired in your typical way, you cruised along, and you sat on the couch next to a lady who was sitting down there, and you actually had your fly open at the time. I don't know if you remember that. Do you remember that auction?
Well,
there was another embarrassing auctioneer moment.
I wondered why she started referring to me as Big Phil.
No, she didn't refer to you as Big Phil at all. She referred to you as that funny, strange fellow, that auctioneer.
That was rather embarrassing.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was one of those very long auctions that went on and on and on and on.
And you sat down, and it wasn't so noticeable because you stood up, so you sort of covered. But then when you sat down, it went whoop-a, everything just sort of opened up. Thankfully, you were you were properly dressed that day. There was, no open for inspection going on within the pants area, Phil. But it was a very embarrassing auctioneer moment. If you've got any embarrassing auctioneer moments,
I'm sure my father is going to write in tomorrow saying it's juvenile. And we've returned
we're having
to schoolboy
humour. We can't avoid it. Anyway, if you've got any embarrassing auctioneer stories, if our team or anybody else has got any embarrassing auctioneer moments, bring them in because we're going to start talking about them on GPTV.
Let's talk about this weekend's auctions, Gary. I think it's
hogging it all over there.
Time we spoke about real estate.
Okay, we've got some new listings.
This show's rather drivelous.
It is a bit drivelous, Phil.
Drivelish.
People like the drivel.
Today.
People watch it for the drivel. And on the weekend, again, somebody said, I saw your show, and I thought, you're probably the third person that watches it. Phil, 4 Chattersley Avenue. We're not waiting for the weekend. We are going to be auctioning this on Sunday. We've got a quiet week of auctions,
No,
Phil.
we're not going to be auctioning it on Sunday.
Sorry,
we're going to be auctioning it
Thursday.
on Wednesday, Gary. Wednesday. It's not that complicated.
Tomorrow.
The minutes say Wednesday. We're going to be auctioning it tomorrow, and it's scheduled for 6 o'clock, and it's going to to be held here at our centre at 198 Balaclava Road. Yes. The door will be open from 5:30. We'll be serving drinks.
Coffee,
I think.
wine,
coffee. I'm not sure we're allowed to serve alcohol at an auction.
No, I'd like
we'll
to.
be sued for. I didn't mean to buy that property. I was under the influence of
those
alcohol.
agents got me drunk.
6 p.m.
Turn me around in circles.
Door will be open from 5:30. We'll be auctioning from here, the 198 Balaclava Road, on the corner of Stanley Street, opposite the primary school.
Can you tell? Yes, it is a Caulfield Primary School with a wonderful French program. Phil, can you tell us about 4 Chattersley Avenue, because you've talked a lot about the wine and the venue and everything, but come on, talk about the property. This
has been in the same family's hands for, I think, about 50 years. It's 1,868 square metres. That's 1,868 square metres of prime St Kilda land.
The mother of all blocks of land.
And I'm not sure that there has been a bigger single residential holding put to the market anywhere in this area of that magnitude. So if you're looking for something, whether it be a development site subject to council approval or building your dream estate, you'll see it all on Wednesday evening, and you'll have the opportunity to buy yourself a significant parcel of inner suburban land.
Phil, on Saturday we've got plenty of auctions on. You're only doing a couple on Saturday, doing one on Sunday. A quietish weekend for you by your standards, because you're a bit of an auction machine on the weekend with your 5-6 auctions per day. Just sort of starting to get into rhythm. What about the Demons, by the way? Talking about machines getting to rhythm.
Well,
Gee,
Gary, they are first on the ladder. They're one game clear, and they are looking at almost impossible not to have a top 4 finish.
Oh,
Gary.
come on, they're favourites, final favourite. You don't want to say it because you don't want to put the moz on yourself. But what happened to Richmond? I don't understand what's going on. They're right down.
Just goes to show, Gary, that elite sport at any level is very much a
vulnerable.
It's a head game.
It's
also subject to injuries. Who's carrying the injuries?
Same with real estate, don't you find?
It's a head game?
Yeah, subject to injury.
So.
You know, injured auctioneer, you can lose your voice.
Come on, let's move
Nothing.
on. That's just silly.
Okay, let's have double auction action, Philip, on Saturday morning. We're going to start at Gerald Street in Murrumbina. That's going to be at 10:30 a.m.
Gary, we like that sort of real estate. We keep saying it, 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom and a lock-up garage with courtyard garden area. That's the sort of real estate that you do very well.
We've got triple auction action at 11:30, Phil. We're going to be in St Kilda Road, St Kilda. Lamore Herskovitz is the agent. Jeremy Rosen's auctioneer.
1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, 1 car space there, Gary. That's a good property.
Phil, 16 Cambridge Street, quality property going up there. Looking forward to that
Gary,
auction.
we love Cambridge Street. This is a freestanding home, and that is 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, really good entertaining areas, off-street car parking for 2 cars, and a north-facing back garden.
In McKinnon and Osborne Avenue, great address, good-looking property.
Gary, this is an incredible home. 4 or as many as 5 bedrooms, 3 beautiful bathrooms, 2, if not 3, entertaining spaces. That's a house with everything, and it's got real architectural style. It's an extraordinary property.
Mimosa Road, Carnegie is where we bring the curtain down on Saturday at 1:30 p.m. Leo Samuel auction.
Gary, a beautiful building, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and a basement car parking there for 2 cars. That is a humdinger, as they say in the classics.
They do, Phil. Sunday, just the one auction, Phil, but it's a good auction. We've dedicated the entire day for the auction of number 16 Paran Grove, Elswick. What a great address.
And Gary, that's going to be held at 12:30, which gives me plenty of time to get myself preened and ready, because Paran Grove is a wonderful address, and that's a very hard to find property because it's a 3 bedroom, 2.5 bathroom, double lock-up garage, single story villa home. Doesn't get much better.
Doesn't get any better, Phil. And that's a wrap for the weekend, but we have got a property here we're going to feature, and that's number 401. Glen Ira Road in Caulfield North, Phil. What a great looking classic facade.
Gary, that's been owned by an interior designer who went through that and gave it an overhaul. 3 bedrooms, 2 beautiful bathrooms, plenty of off-street car parking. That you could buy for the land and subject to council approval, perhaps 2 townhouses, or just live in it straight away if you're a young first home buyer or a second home buyer. That's a beautiful home because it's just a high livability factor and walking distance everywhere you want to be.
Indeed it is, Phil. Nice wrap there of that beautiful home, Glen Ira Road, coming up, and we've got some more homes to feature in future weeks on GPTV. We'll be back next week. Before we go though, Phil, had some no joy with racing. Order of Command had its first start, did nothing. National Choice did nothing. Lakes Volley did nothing. I had 3 horses
So you had 3
run,
horses
and
running.
they all did nothing.
I suppose if only 10% of your stable runs, Gary, at any particular time, that's probably pretty good, pretty good moving.
Just about my whole stable.
A shout out to all of our friends and family and colleagues and just general population in New South Wales.
Yes.
Look, we should be nice humble about it, but let's be clear, New South Wales bagged Victoria for virtually the last 12 months.
Didn't understand us.
Last 12 months, you really hammered us and said we're the disease
sick,
state.
dirty.
Well, whoever runs, whoever's looking around, and whoever controls this disease, they probably said we've heard enough from New South
We're
Wales.
going to spread a bit over there.
You know, we're going
feel the pain.
We're going to throw a pox on your state.
Exactly right.
And look what's happened. They're just being
I know.
slammed.
And we're jovial about it. We shouldn't be jovial because it's a sad thing. But, you know, I've got to say, there's really there's no one dying at the moment, thank goodness.
Well,
for
there
that,
was,
Phil.
Gary.
There's one
a 90-year-old
person,
woman who was unvaccinated died of COVID. So
but she might have,
let's not be
passed away.
dismissive of that.
So sorry for that lady. But compared to what happened in Melbourne with all those deaths, it's actually very well controlled from a point of view of people in intensive care, people on machines, the
Anybody
machines.
would be thinking that you work for the New South Wales government, Gary. Having said
No, I'm just
all
saying,
of
it's not-
that,
it's not as bad.
Get your injections. Just don't muck around. Whether it's
Get
AstraZeneca,
vaccinated, yeah.
Pfizer, just get
Just
yourself
get something, anything.
vaccinated.
Yeah.
The
Take a
sooner we
discipline.
vaccinate this country, the sooner we all step up and
Exactly
get
right.
that shot in the arm, which
Yeah.
doesn't hurt. I've had mine. It's absolutely
And
no
you hate
big deal at
injections
all.
too. You don't like
You
them
know
at
what?
all.
I'm over them now. I just roll with the injections. Viewers, thank you for
Stay with
watching.
Order of Command in the Bletchley Stakes in 2 weeks' time. Good chance of the Bletchley form reversal. You heard it here first. Let's hope so. That's a big wrap on GPTV. We look forward to seeing you next week. I'm Gary Peer.
I'm Philip Kingston. Have a great week.